What's good, YouTube? It's Nehemiah, aka Neo, and today we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this is a team that actually does excite me, especially after the trade deadline, because they have a lot of the tools that could get them there to the promised land. But there are just some things that need to be changed, and they have made some changes. Now, let's talk about if that's good enough, James Harden's situation, and if they're able to become contenders next year. So let's get into it. But before that, like and subscribe if you want to. I'm not pushing y'all. If y'all want to, y'all can. If y'all don't, that's fine with me. But let's get into it. When we're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, we have to at least notice that they're trying to get a resemblance of the 2020 roster of the Houston Rockets back together. Daniel House and PJ Tucker just signed again, along with James Harden's pending on a contract. He just recently met with the Philadelphia 76ers, so expect that soon. But what's not being talked about enough is how good they've been ever since the addition of James Harden. You know, even though they did burn out in the playoffs, it was more so because of Joel Embiid's injury rather than actually just not being good enough. They were able to even win against the Miami Heat in certain games. It's just that the luck didn't roll their way, especially with Joel just not looking the same on the court while he was in the mask. But I don't think that they have to worry about that too much going forward. Along with that, they just have bigger bodies that they get throw at. Now they have PJ Tucker, obviously. Daniel House is probably a good shooter too, good 3D player for the low. And again, that's just another piece that Philadelphia needed. But there are two things I do want to talk about Philly, and that's one, Tobias Harris, and if he's going to get traded. There have been very much many rumors about KD and him being traded to Philly because of Tobias Harris's contract being so large. I thought that happens. I don't think that the Nets really want Tobias Harris of all people. I think they would probably, if they were to do that trade, they would have to give up Tyrese Maxey. And I know that the Philadelphia Sixers would not try to make that deal because, you don't want to give up your young talent, especially since he's what, 23? I'm pretty sure he's either 23 or 22. But regardless of that, even if they do want to get KD, I think that giving up that level of talent for a guy he's just 21. So I think for giving up a guy like Tyrese Maxey for KD is kind of strange, but I still would probably do it. But I do see the side of Philadelphia of not trying to go for a Tyrese Maxey trade because they were able to luck out of a James Harden trade without Tyrese Maxey. So now if they could get him, then, or if they could still keep him without giving up any major assets, it'd be really good. I think they could really pull that off, but I don't think that they will. However, that's just a lot of stuff that probably just won't happen in the season. But let's talk about how good they are right now. And I just think that it really hinges on two things. One, if James Harden can at least get the first step back. It's really looking bad for James Harden and how good he's been with the less foul calls, but more so how bad he's been off the dribble. So currently, I have the Philadelphia 76ers as probably a top 3 team in the East, even if Brooklyn does run it back completely. Because one, Miami has lost a lot of pieces going into the next season, and two, what Brooklyn is looking like right now is not nearly as appealing as it used to be. So even if they do run it back, which is honestly probably the likely answer from now on, from what it's looking like, there are still a lot of problems that we have going forward with those two rosters that I just can't overlook. And I think that the Philadelphia 76ers does match up with both of them well. Even if Miami did beat them in the last playoff series, I would still say that a healthy Joel Embiid could be a difference maker. I'm not sure if it is, but I think it could be. And they also lost PJ Tucker. I think that a lot of players are going to regress this year. I don't think that Tyler Hero is going to be as good as he was this year, especially as the playoffs have went on. So there's that. But I think the main thing that separates this team from, let's say, a team like Miami or even the Brooklyn Nets, I think Joel Embiid has just been a top 5 player the last couple of years. In my opinion, he's probably a top 4 player. Ooh, excuse me. But he's probably a top four player in the league. He's just so good on the offensive, defensive end. But again, all this does hinge is whether or not James Harden's leg does come back. If his leg does come back, if his burst does come back, we have to understand that his shot creation is gonna go through the roof. He just really needs that burst to create more penetration. Not only that, but to create more contact on drives, so he could get more foul calls. Not only that, but just to create better shots for him. Usually, he's just driving to get foul calls because he's not driving to actually make the basket. He can't drive to make the basket because he's just not strong enough. And without that kind of level of dynamic scoring, especially if Tyrese Maxey isn't giving him one of his best games, it's just really hard for Philadelphia to actually come and jump over the hurdle that we're looking forward to. But again, if he does look more like 2021 or even just 2020 Harden, I think it does put a really good spot on where Philadelphia is, especially going into next season. Not only that, but I wouldn't be mad if someone had a favorite as Philadelphia because over the last, I think, 5-ish years of the NBA finals, five different Eastern Conference teams have made it to the finals. So every single year since 2018, there has been a new finals or a new Eastern Conference champion. And I think that this could actually be Philadelphia's year. So that's pretty much it for me. This is probably gonna be a shorter video because a lot of stuff that Philadelphia has made is already pretty much down in the books, already there. So yeah, that's just gonna be it. But today I may upload a couple videos, including some shorts about Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren. I forgot how to pronounce his name, but that guy. I'll probably upload more about him. But yeah, that's it. It's your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo, and today I hope you're having a great one.